Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, then you know you're tuned in to another episode of Marking Out Amongst Friends, the podcast. You know me, it's your boy, Jay Reddy, in the building. And you know, if I'm in here, I ain't never in here alone. All right, I always roll deeps. All right, you know my crew. All right, first and foremost, the first lady of podcasts. All right, the master of swerves and curves. Okay, resident check keeper of one boss, Sasha Banks. All right, and the pretty much the looks of the show because the rest of us are not really lookers. Uh, Lady Great One, y'all, give it up for Lady Great One.
Oh, as much as I appreciate all the warmth and all the attention, so to speak, I'm not really one. I've got a face for radio. Just remember that. And that's why I only go live with my voice only. So, how's everybody doing tonight?
All right, and you know if we in here, you know you might see just the two of us from time to time, or hear just the two of us from time to time. But tonight we got another one in the building. All right, he's back like he never left. All right, everywhere he go, everywhere he's there, you never there. All right. He's a very important person, and he knows very important people. All right, give it up for Mr. VIP in the building.
What's up? What's up? Big things popping, small things stopping. Let's go.
All right, it's the king. All right, the king of podcasts, that is. All right, so we got a lot of stuff going on in the wrestling industry this week. It almost seems like we don't even feel like we got enough time to cover everything. But this is the Marking Out Amongst Friends podcast, and that's what we do. So every topic that we got listed, you know damn well we gonna cover that shit. All right. We got Fyter Fest coming up. Not only we got Fyter Fest coming up, we got to recap WWE Stomping Rounds. All right. We listened to Dean Ambrose in his podcast earlier this year, The Emancipation of Dean Ambrose, or The Emancipation of John Moxley. Seth Rollins has now had his own podcast and had some things that he wanted to get off of his chest. So we're going to talk about that too. And then finally, for anybody who's a wrestling fan, a bombshell was dropped on the wrestling community today. The return of Eric Bischoff. I'm back, and I'm better than ever. He and Paul Heyman are now the directors of Smackdown and Raw. What does that mean for the company? We'll find out later in this podcast. But right now, you know what it's time to do. Lady Great One, Mr. VIP, what time is it? What we gonna do? Tell the people what we gonna do.
Hit my day with music.
He looks like a fan.
Marking out.
He was marking out, man.
450 off the top with the top. Leader of the new school, ain't no way to stop us. Mark it out, screaming loud, tell me who you with. Competition is none, cause we lunatics. Walk with me down these roads if you're all in. I love the feeling, baby, time to go to work again. Come together like a fist and we do it proud. Light it up and burn it down, cause we marking out.
He was marking out, man.
All right, all right. Once again, that was the official Chill P. All right, Mr. Hot Tag himself, a resident friend in which we mark out with as well on this show. Doing our theme song, the Marking Out Amongst Friends theme song. All right. First and foremost, before we get into anything, how y'all been? Y'all my friends. Feel like I haven't talked to y'all in a minute. Maybe in a
Probably
week.
feel like it's been a week. Feel like a week. Doing well, doing well.
All right, all right. You know, I know y'all got kids. I ain't got kids,
I,
but right now, ain't school out?
Yes, it's the summer. They're here. Out free. Going, driving us crazy.
can you hear me? And my cousin,
Uh, yeah, yeah. I think Lady Great One is
We're
fading
having
out
some
for a
technical
second.
difficulties.
All I can hear is, can you hear me?
Yeah, that's all I hear.
All right. So with the summertime, I know how it was when I was a kid. I didn't do shit but play video games and watch TV all summer. Especially before I was old enough to get a job and actually do things. All I had to do was pretty much, wash the dishes, take the trash out, stuff like that. But this was time I was playing video games, watching TV, and I know more than anything else that what my mom hated is I was probably eating her out of house at home at that point in time. So how much more frequently are you guys having to buy groceries now that the kids are out of school?
Oh God. Every couple minutes they hungry again. We just fix a big dinner, fix some tacos and stuff, and then my son's like, "Can I? What is there to eat? You just ate less than an hour ago. The heck? Well, I'm hungry. Can I get this? Can I get this? Can I get this?" I'm like, "Boy, you don't get your butt in there. You just ate." Yeah, they doing nothing but eating out of house and home.
Yeah, that's what kids do. That was the life. No responsibility, all expense paid life. All your bills paid, all your clothes paid for, all your food paid for. You don't have to drive. You get driven to school either on that yellow cheese wagon or either your parents take you. And life was good back then. You know what? But then
Yes,
again,
yes, it was.
it's easy for me to be so excited about the summertime because I don't have any children. All right. So
Yet,
my day
yet.
my days are still me just working and coming home and doing stuff like this. You know.
Yeah.
But
Am
eventually
I coming through now?
she's
Yes,
back,
you're coming through.
back for the first
And
time.
better than
Yes.
ever.
Guess who's back? Back again. Okay, yeah. Toya's back. Tell a friend. Okay. Anyway, yeah. I'm so blessed to have wonderful, wonderful grandparents that take mine off my hands for a little while. They've been gone for about a week now. So my groceries are safe for the time being. But the problem is I'm bored and I get hungry.
Yeah, then you eat.
Exactly.
You're like, man, I got nothing to do. Let me see what's in here to eat. I'm gonna just get a little snack.
Do you find yourself fixing something like maybe a peanut butter and jelly and some goldfish? You're like, wait a minute, there ain't no kids here. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to eat this now that I fixed it. You
Yeah.
know?
No, the thing I remember doing is you sit there watch TV and you watch the kids shows. You're like, why the hell am I watching this? The kids ain't here.
Sitting at
I
home
don't have to watch this right now.
watching Paw Patrol. Boy, if you don't get
Paw Patrol. Watching Dora. Why the hell am I watching Dora?
well,
None of the kids are here.
well, I done started now. I might as well finish the episode. It's gonna kill me if I don't see what
Yeah.
happens.
Hell yeah. I'm interested now. I gotta find out if Dora finds her way back home.
Where's the map? Oh, here's the map.
Is Swiper gonna swipe it this time?
Oh man.
That is hilarious. That's hilarious. Well, all our wrestling fans who listen to the show that got kids, just know you got some folks on the podcast that can relate to you. Hey, you can be a wrestling parent, and you can be a wrestling mom, a wrestling dad, or whatever. It's a part of life. Hey, we all got taught, just like we're teaching our next generation. All right. But without further
We're all
ado,
peace leaders, man.
absolutely, absolutely. I ain't got no kids, but guess what? When my nephew got here, he watched wrestling because of why? Because Uncle said so. That's just
Hell yeah.
it's our responsibility. We got to teach the kids, each one reach one. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of wrestling, we got a whole lot of it to talk about tonight. First and foremost, let's go ahead and jump into these stomping ground recaps. The stomping grounds will be pretty much easy to go through. First and foremost, did you guys like stomping grounds? I was a fan. I thought it was a pretty good pay per view.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was one of the pay-per-views I really wasn't excited about at first. But like after watching the first match, I was like, okay, that was pretty good. And then watching the second, damn, that was pretty good too. It kept going. It had me interested. So yeah, it was better than I thought it was going to be.
All right, Lady Great One.
I'm for some reason I was actually a little bit more critical than I thought I was going to be. I give it a solid C plus. I know I caught a lot of flack from my score, my rating on this show, but I gave it a solid C plus. I thought it was good. I mean, yes, this is the first time we had no part timers, no Shane McMahon,
Right.
in his own match, so to speak, put it that way. And yeah, I still felt like there was something missing, that there was something lacking. I don't know, maybe just because I didn't have my Miz fix, that was a problem.
You know what? I can almost agree with that with the Miz part because the Miz is definitely a player that's been missed on pay per views in the last couple of months. Um, but I mean, it was only 9 matches total. I feel like pretty much every match that I watched delivered, which is hard to do on WWE main roster pay per views, even down to the pre show.
Yeah.
So we can just jump right into it. I mean, the pre show. I would just like to say first and foremost, I am so excited. Finally, Drew Gulak was able to capture the WWE Cruiserweight Championship. Like now, I didn't get
Heck yeah.
I didn't get to see the very start. I started watching about halfway through, and got to see the ending and just a little bit of the match that I watched. It was a really great match. Um, I think Drew Gulak always had the best personality out of the originals that were on 205 Live or from the original Cruiserweight tournament. And I think that this could really skyrocket his stock in WWE.
Yeah, I completely agree. I am surprised that it took him this long because really, like you said, he was the biggest thing of the originals. He was pretty much the biggest thing going for a long time. I mean, he had like the biggest storylines in 205. He had the biggest personality. No matter what, it was always a lot based on something that was going on with him. So for him to finally win the title, it's amazing that it took this long for them to finally give it to him. But I think now that he has it, it's really gonna do. He's gonna do big things. I can't wait to see, with him as the champion, how well it's gonna go because we really haven't had a bad guy or a heel in 205 have the champion in a while. We had Buddy, but just one that talked as much as uh, Drew is, as so sadistic as he is. This is going to be. I can't wait to see it.
As your resident advocate for Better 205 Live, of course, Drew Gulak was actually the solution to this. However, he did have to drop the whole campaign for a Better 205 Live in order to get the title. Now, do you think that that was more or less his proving grounds instead of his stomping grounds?
Possibly. He said that he was going to stop trying to get a better 205, and he was just going to make a better Drew Gulak. So, stop worrying about everybody else. Worry about yourself. You see where that led him to.
Exactly. So it's long overdue, and yes, it was a long time coming, and I'm very happy with the result. And yeah, I think that it's going to be a very great positive. Now, if 205 Live can just stop getting Drake Maverick to chase R-Truth with the 24/7 title and focus on worried about him being a general manager, that would be something positive. Because Hornswoggle can't take it from the 9-time 24/7 champ again.
Yeah, he needs to just go back to being the general manager.
I'm gonna tell you why I'm not mad at it. It's not the best thing in the world, but I'm gonna tell you why I'm not mad at it. 205 Live gets hardly any representation on the main roster anymore. They used to always have a lot of matches, even if they weren't title matches, they would have a lot of matches on Raw and SmackDown. You don't get that anymore from 205 Live. So at least Drake Maverick being on TV every week is a reminder that hey, 205 Live is still putting out quality wrestling out there. So
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. Plus, I mean, he's a goof. We knew Rockstar Spud was a goof. Drake Maverick is a dude. He's a little guy. That's what it is. But at the same time, he's the GM for 205 Live for a reason. Let's jump right into the main card here. Let's go to our singles matches that were non-title related first. Roman Reigns defeated Drew McIntyre uh, again. Um, the match was pretty good again, but why can't Drew McIntyre beat Roman at a pay per view? I think that's the only thing that bugged me out of this whole pay per view.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I like it was a better match than they've had before. But like you said, it's like Drew can't beat him. It should be more back and forth, or Drew can't beat him without having Shane. And I'm like, come on. But it was a better match than what they've been having. But like I said before, I just think the storyline between them two would be so much better if it didn't have Shane in it, and if it was just something between them two. But at least it was a better match.
Well, yeah, it was a good match. I completely agree with what Mr. VIP was saying about not having Shane involved in it, but there has to be a reason for them to fight. And since they're not fighting over the title, this is the next best thing, maybe. Don't know. I don't know. Either way, I like them two fighting together. They have good in-ring chemistry, and yeah,
Move.
got it.
Nick. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Uh,
So where do you think that this goes now? Like with Roman Reigns defeating Drew McIntyre, who's the enforcer of this whole makeshift stable that Shane has created. Does this mean that they go back to Roman and Shane? Does Roman eventually go over Shane, or where did they go? How do you end this storyline?
I don't know how they end it. I mean, now they put Undertaker in it for out of nowhere. So I don't know. I don't know how they're going to end it. I mean, they haven't really explained why Undertaker came out to help Roman, so that doesn't make sense. Just to get to see Drew McIntyre Undertaker, that'll be fun. But yeah, I don't really know where the storyline is going now. It's just adding Undertaker makes it like, okay, what the hell did that come from? So yeah, it
Well, the
seems a
same thing can
shame.
be said about when Roman was actually added into it, because this whole thing started with Shane and Miz. So
Well, yeah, but when Roman was added into it when he hit Vince, so that's what put him into it, and then Shane is coming in defense of him.
well,
But
I understand that, but at the same time, this is the big dog.
yeah,
But what was Undertaker called back in the day?
yeah,
This is actually his yard.
it was his yard.
So why
So
not
I
help
don't
him
know.
out?
I guess random as ever, but hell, anytime you get to see Undertaker, I don't give a fuck. Do it.
Exactly.
I just felt like Scott
Um,
Steiner was just gonna come out of nowhere right now, just Howard, if you hear me.
hell yeah, he done went off a 33 and a third.
God, what is happening over there? Like all those sirens. Somebody
I don't
dead.
know. They're damn.
Somebody dead.
Good God. It's like
Uh,
Somebody couldn't take
we started talking about the dead man and the ambulance came out. Let's see. Yeah,
some it came to take somebody's soul.
this whole storyline that Shane is in is very awkward. I'm gonna tell you one thing before I move on to the next match. Now, one of the former guests on the show that we had earlier this year, Richie, stated that he feels that Shane McMahon is gearing up for a world title run. I couldn't bring myself to respond to it.
He,
I And
Please, God.
what's bad about it is I see why he feels that way, and I can definitely see WWE doing it. I just don't want to see it. Like, but I mean,
With the what?
at one point in time, Vince McMahon was world champion as well. So
Yeah,
not that.
but with the way they're doing it now, like every damn minute, Shane is on TV, Raw and SmackDown, and he's on there for a while. It's not exciting anymore. Like so most, before every when Shane do stuff, I'm like, okay, this you got into it, but this whole storyline that he's been doing now, it's just I'm not into it. And every time you come on, I'm like, oh my god, you could have just came out on Raw. You didn't have to come out on Raw and SmackDown to say and do the exact same thing you just did the night before, and it take up a long time. I'm like, come on, please have somebody else on, or at least if you're going to do a stable, have some other people in the stable fight for you or do something. Not the same thing you did on Raw, just doing on SmackDown.
Man,
So like right now, I'm just ready for Shane to be gone for a while and come up with something new.
yeah, he got to get put out. Somebody got to put Shane on the shelf, man. Of course, like storyline wise, not for real, guys. Next match on the card. Tag team match: Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn defeated the New Day, Big E and Xavier Woods. This is a really good match too. Not
New Day. That was
not
a
as if
great match.
yeah, and it's not that the New Day doesn't always have great matches, but it was just like this was legit the most excited that I've seen Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in a match in a long time. And it just seemed like
Yeah.
everybody came to perform in this match. And that's really what made it more entertaining to me than anything else. Of course, we know all of them are great wrestlers. Everybody in the ring is great. But just to see Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens invested, um, that made me feel good about that match as a whole. Lady Grape, wanted to start with you. What do you think about that match? All right.
Well, yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to fix something. Um, but on this match right here, yeah, Sammy and Kevin actually like did look engaged. The match was good, but yeah, once again, I like how they actually are giving them a little bit of exposure. They're putting them into something, but it's still at the end of the day, like how many times we're going to see these two? I mean, really, how many times are we going to see these two?
I mean, they could be a great tag team.
Yeah, yeah, they're not. Kevin Owens has already walked out on them. So, uh,
But
yeah, it was a
I know
great
which
match.
two I'm talking about.
Either way, I don't want. I don't. New Day now. I don't want them to break up. Kevin Owens and them, they were great until Kevin Owens walked out on them, and then he goes right back to the same thing that they've been doing before. If they would have stayed a team, the whole way they were, jumping Xavier and all this stuff, it was a great match psychologically how they did, but you know, I don't know now how the story is gonna continue on. But at least it is something they're doing something and doing something with somebody that they can have great matches with, all four of them. So any combination of these four fighting, uh, I like.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, moving right along, another match on the card that didn't have any championship at stake. Well, actually, no. I think the rest of the matches on the card actually had championships at stake here. So let's go into Ricochet defeating Samoa Joe for the United States Championship. This is one that I think either Lady Great one that I called or Mr. VIP. One of us agreed on that one last week, and I knew that they were going towards Ricochet just because Ricochet has tremendous like love from all different fan bases. And I think that he has tremendous star power behind him, and I don't think you could go for long on the main roster without putting him in the spotlight somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, go on, Lady Great One.
Oh, I was gonna say yeah. I took an L on that one because I picked Joe. Um, I admit it. I took my L there. I did. I was the one who picked Joe, and I had my reasons. But then again, seeing what transpired this week, yeah, I'm glad that they went on and put the strap on Ricochet.
So Ricochet
Yeah,
goes the main event of Raw against AJ Styles, fresh off the
phenomenal.
defeating Samoa Joe the night before, goes one on one with AJ Styles the next night.
Main eventing Raw was one of the greatest that ever did it.
And
That
see,
is
Yeah,
huge.
that's why
that
I
was
figured,
phenomenal.
that's why I figured they were gonna go for him in this pay per view because he main evented, I think at least two Raws before winning the United States Championship. One of them, I think both times he might have main evented against Cesaro. Correct me if I'm wrong. He may, I want to say it was twice. It may have only been once, but he main evented at least one Raw before winning the U.S. title, and now his main evented too. To say have somebody on the card fresh out of NXT main eventing the show shows me that they have a lot of faith in him as well.
Yeah, like I said last week, I thought he was going to win because the momentum that he has, you got to capitalize on it. You know, it would have hurt him for him to lose to Joe. You know, he needs to have the title. Joe isn't going to be hurt by it, as we see. But you know, he needs that. They need him as a champion. There's so many great heels to go against, and if you're trying to build a big time, another big time face, he's it. Like you said, he has everything you could possibly want. You know, good looking guy, athletic. He can wrestle. He can high fly. You know, he has a unique look. Everything about him speaks to being a star and speaks to being somebody that you would want to hold a title. And when he has matches, you're going to be excited to see him wrestle because you can't wait to see what he's going to pull off, what he's going to do. Um, so, yeah, he definitely deserves to be at the top. And this is only the beginning.
Okay, before we get off the Ricochet subject, I do want to say this. I was reading an article about Ricochet calling Chris Jericho since he is no longer with the WWE and asking him if he could use the code breaker. So that's something that's a huge sign of respect from Ricochet doing that. And Jericho took it as that as well and granted him permission to do it. Even though they can't call it the code breaker, we all know in our hearts that it's the code
Well,
breaker.
well, it's
So
just a yeah, but Ricochet can call it any other thing.
I know, but still, I was just mainly talking about the respect level and how much respect that Ricochet has for the people who came before him. That was what my point was. So you don't have to go Mr. All Technicality on me, Mr. VIP. Okay?
I gotta troll you. You know, I gotta troll you.
Yeah. Okay, smart. I'm gonna need you to sit back in your corner for a minute. All right. I'm just trying to give some love to my boy.
But
No
yeah,
doubt.
I like that too.
No doubt, no doubt. Yeah, Ricochet, I think he's definitely destined to be one of the top guys in the company going forward. Um, Next match on the card, former WWE top guy Daniel Bryan and current WWE SmackDown Live Tag Team Champion. He and Rowan defeated Heavy Machinery to retain the SmackDown Live Championship. Uh, Another good match on the card. This is a really good match as well. Heavy Machinery is really good to be their size, very agile, very mobile, and they further show you that the big man has evolved in WWE, and a big man is just not big and tall and barely move anymore. These big guys are agile. Um,
They're not great colleagues.
yeah, no more great Khali's, no more Kevin Nash's. You know,
Nash could move sometimes, but yeah, like you said, I was blown away.
To just like
I
his
was
squad,
really.
you were blown away just like Nash's squads.
Oh man, but yeah, I was. It was an amazing match. I was very surprised. I knew they were talented, but you got to see a little bit more out of Tucker. Everybody's usually everybody's usually focused on Otis, with the caterpillar and all the gyrating and everything. But it showed a lot more out of Tucker too. How good he was, how good he is, the moonsault and all this stuff. He showed a lot too. And then like to see Otis and Rowan, which actually Rowan showed a lot too. He actually did really well in the match too. But yeah, it was a really good match. Heavy Machinery really showed that they do belong on the main roster. That they're really good. They're really entertaining. I really was very much surprised at how good of a match it really was.
I was really surprised by the chants. I mean,
Yeah.
the crowd. I knew Daniel Bryan coming home was definitely like a force to be reckoned with because they were in Washington. I know I called machinery, but the chants, drive a Prius, we recycle. I mean,
that's when you know the fans are having fun.
Yes.
They're coming up with all stuff. That and like that got me excited. I was like dying laughing. I was like, oh my God, drive a Prius. That had me hyped up.
I mean,
who would ever thought
and
that
that's
could be a
what
chance?
Exactly. The fan involvement was incredible. I mean, like we don't get that much because like Daniel Bryan couldn't really break kayfabe there, but the crowd loved it, and he played into him, of course, even more. He played up to it. He started the match. I mean, when everybody was chanting yes instead of no, like they usually do, it almost seemed like heavy machinery felt like they were out of place because they're supposed to be the good guys here.
Every time like Otis or mostly Otis, when he would do something to Daniel Bryan, they would boo the hell out of him. I was like, I love that. When the crowd gets into it that much, it gets you excited. No matter if they're cheering for the bad guys or what, but if they're going into it, that gets everybody excited about it. The crowd was amazing. I love that.
Everybody was entertained throughout the match. So that definitely was one of the best matches of the night because of the fact that everybody was engaged and involved and entertained. And Heavy Machinery didn't disappoint. Like they brought it, they took it to Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan. They did come up short. However, like the match in itself was incredible. I mean, great match. That's probably match of the night for me, guys.
Rowan even showed something. I was like, damn, he's actually pretty good. I've never really been impressed by him, but I was like, shit, he's actually good. He's doing well.
Hey, what did I say What did I say last week? I decrypted WWE Stomping Grounds, and I was like, hey, whose Stomping Grounds is it? Daniel Bryan Stomping Grounds, and his his people showed up. Next match on the card. We're going to jump right into one of the women's matches. All right, Bayley defeated Alexa Bliss to retain the WWE SmackDown Live Women's Championship. Another good match. These girls always have good chemistry. I love their chemistry on the mic and promos leading up into the match more than anything else. But because you can tell a hint of the realism behind a lot of the feelings that they have towards each other. Not to say that they hate each other in real life, but you have Bayley playing into the indie great and Alexa Bliss making comments like you peaked in NXT.
Yeah.
You're mad because I've been more successful.
One thing is Alexa Bliss is great on the mic. Mm-hmm. She is really, really good on the microphone. So yeah, it makes you, like you said, it makes you kind of be like, yeah, it's kind of a little bit of realism And when she was like, y'all, you didn't respect me when I was in NXT, and y'all treated me bad and all this stuff, and I came here and said, fuck y'all, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. It built it was a great storyline between them two. That was not based on anybody else, just Bayley and Alexa. So instead of, most of the time they do a storyline with Bayley, it has something to do with Charlotte or Sasha or somebody else. This was finally a storyline that was just Bayley and Alexa. Of course, Nikki Cross, but the whole storyline, it was Bayley. It wasn't focused on anybody else but just Bayley. So I really like that factor in it.
And that's also where I think that, yes, I like that, but also where in a way I was kind of let down. I was a little bit deflated because yes, as much as I talked bad about her, I was hoping for a Sasha Banks return, a heel
Yeah.
Sasha Banks return.
Yeah. I still think it's coming.
I think it's coming too, but especially since it's Extreme Rules coming up, that's the next pay-per-view, and yeah.
I think it's going to come, but I don't think if they do it right, they're not going to have the match till like SummerSlam. But that's a huge match when they finally have it. So it may be like right after whatever the pay-per-view or whatever, right before SummerSlam, they'll start building for it.
This is right before SummerSlam. Extreme Rules is the pay-per-view right before SummerSlam.
So now it's supposed to be Alexa and Bayley again, and then something could happen, and it's where Sasha could come back, or the night after Sasha comes back, and then they start something, and then that goes to SummerSlam, and then Nikki and Alexa will probably go into SummerSlam to fight. But yeah, it's time for her to come back.
Yeah, it's gonna be huge when she comes back. She's gonna get the biggest pop, either the biggest pop, or if she come back and attack Bayley, she's gonna get the biggest boo. Either way, it's gonna be a huge reaction whenever she comes out.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing.
Next match on the card, another women's match. Becky Lynch defeated Lacey Evans by submission, slapping the disarm her on her once again. So Lacey Evans, at this point in time, has taken countless L's to Becky Lynch. But I kind of like the fact that she's still standing her ground. Of course, in a lot of matches, you guys see that she's a little green. But she has a huge upside and huge potential that, it's still like I'm not bothered with her being in the spot that she's in. What do you guys think?
Yeah, of course, anybody knows I love Lacey Evans. I love her. I love the character. Yeah, even if, like I said, I think they probably did bring her up too early, but you can learn while you're there. Her character is too strong. It was too strong of a character to stay at NXT. It was too strong of a character not to be one of the main stars or main characters in the women's division. That's why I thought that she was going to be brought up so quick, because her character is such a unique character, and it would go as a heel. It would go against pretty much everybody. She could work that character against any one of the other women, and when it was perfect when Becky started calling herself the man, and I'm like, oh my god, the man, and then the classy woman. This is perfect. So yeah, she's the perfect heel for Becky. I don't think nobody else in the women's division would be a good enough heel besides them going right back to putting her against Charlotte or somebody. So it's good to see somebody new in that role. And yeah, they keep building and building. Even if she's losing like a heel's supposed to do, no matter if she loses, she still always has something to say. So I'm loving it.
All right, Lady Grey One.
She must have went to do something for a minute. But yeah, so
All right.
I think that's I can't wait to see what they're gonna do. It is keep building this storyline, and now that you said it the other week about them having Steph and Becky together, now
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna start showing them together on TV in the storyline. So
Yeah, I mean, you
let's
got
see what happens now.
two of the biggest stars in the company, man, female, whatever, as a couple. You can't, like, Vince McMahon put Edge leader in Matt Hardy's relationship on television. You're not going to let a chance go by to have the biggest two guys in the company, or the biggest two people in the company being a couple and not let it be mentioned. Like, you can cancel Christmas on that.
Yeah,
Too much star power, too much power not to build for it, and it's an easy way to build stories off of it on the main roster. You don't really see it as much with.
Especially.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, did I come in?
Yeah, you're finally.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
yes.
Okay. Oh, I was just going to build off of what you were saying because Dante pretty much hit all the points that I was going to say there. We're talking about Lacey and Becky, but what you were saying, you can build the whole power couple, and remind you, both of those have had problems with the resident power couple. I keep wanting to say company, but power couple in the company with the storyline involving Triple H and Stephanie. They each have their own story, so I hope not.
That
But anyway, I wouldn't mind seeing them fight Triple H and Stephanie at some point in time down the road.
you saying that logically, that's probably got to be where they're going next. I
I
mean, who else? They have to go there.
I see it differently.
Okay.
I see it differently. I see Triple H and Stephanie getting involved, but in order for this to be good TV, you don't want to just put them in a match against each other, or have them feud against them as that authority figure. I think that Stephanie needs to get in Becky Lynch's ear. All right, there's a topic that we're going to discuss later on, revolving around Seth Rollins on a podcast that he took. But Seth Rollins is really taking this whole best in the company, best in the world thing around, and all it takes is for Stephanie McMahon to talk about the women's revolution and to tell Becky Lynch to make her try to persuade that Seth thinks he's even better than her, and it's going to make an even bigger storyline because then you'll start to see some type of on-screen friction between the two, and it would make for really good TV to watch. So
Because
it would.
Stephanie could say, if Steph is the best in the world, why did he main event WrestleMania?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Mm. So yeah,
it would be huge, and then all of a sudden, she messes around and costs him a title opportunity, or makes him drop the title later on in the year. That would be huge, huge,
yeah,
huge. All right, next
that
match on the card.
that would
Oh,
be
go ahead.
unique.
The next
I said,
match
yeah,
on
that would be unique.
all right. Next match on the card. We're down to our world title matches here. Uh, I guess we'll go Kofi first. Kofi defeated Dolph Ziggler in a steel cage match. This match was the longest match of the night. These guys went 20 minutes. We know they could do that. We knew they could do that beforehand. Uh, I said before this match that this match could either be a really, really good match, or it could be a match that doesn't live up to the hype because both of these guys are notoriously known for, even though they're being talented, notoriously known for being great sellers. Um, but I think that the way this match went, both of them got to show pretty good offense. Kofi Kingston ending the match with the Superman through the ropes and landing on the floor was probably something that I don't think I've ever seen in a steel cage match before. And
I was about to say that.
just alone, that made me like, wow, that made that match even that much better. And I always
I was
thought
about to
about that.
say.
Every steel cage match I thought about growing up, I was like, why are we even wasting our time wrestling? Like, I'm not gonna take my time stepping through the ropes and trying to climb down the steps. Like, No, I'm going through that door as fast as I can. Like, and if I jump, how are you gonna stop me if you can't hold me in the air and catch me?
Yeah.
So
It was it was this the match was good. I mean, it's just as good as pretty much all their matches. But the ending is what caught me. Like you said, I had never seen anybody win like that, and for it to be like, oh shoot! I mean, the way they had it, like Kofi was like, halfway in the middle of the ring, and the Dolphins like climbing out. I was like, oh shoot, he actually gonna win? And then when he just dove over him, I was like, oh my god, I did not see that coming. So it was a completely like holy shit moment. Um, yeah, that was an amazing ending. Like I said, I've seen, they've had great matches. It was, just as good as all the other ones. But that ending was really like, wow, that blew me away when he jumped over him. I was like, oh my God, that caught me off guard. So yeah, a surprise ending was great.
All I have to say is who else but Kofi? As many times as we've seen Kofi Kingston and Royal Rumbles do some incredible way to get back in the ring, why not have him do something incredible to get out of the steel cage? Who else but Kofi?
facts, facts.
Right? So, I mean, that was like one of the things, as you said before, as many steel cage matches as I've watched growing up and stuff too. And I was always thinking, like, why don't you jump? Why don't you jump out and get out as quick as you can? If you can get through that door, jump out. Or better yet, go out feet first. Instead of people trying to grab you and hold you in while you're trying to go out head first, why not go out feet first? I've never seen anybody go out feet first. This is the first I've seen the first times for everything with Kofi jumping out over somebody who's going out head first. But why not anybody trying to go out feet first? That's next.
Yeah.
It's just logical.
It is. Yeah, I mean it's logical, and like the fact that he did it, I was like, oh shit! Like he really just jumped over that dude. Like it was interesting, and that's the type of stuff that Kofi, like you said, he's been doing his whole career, and it's great to now see like something he's known for doing make its way into his whole main event push right now. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that even much more. Next match on the card, and the final match on the card, Seth Rollins defeated Baron Corbin. Yes, thank God. Seth Rollins defeated Baron Corbin. And a special guest referee ended up being who else but the lady herself, Lacey Evans. I thought that was genius booking. A lot of people were against it. I thought that was dope. Like, Seth Rollins beat the hell out of everybody with a steel chair that even attempted to be special guest referee. But he couldn't do it to a lady. And because of the whole thing with Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, um, it was a natural fit. It was great. It was great booking. The match itself was actually pretty decent. Um, it told a story, and in the end of the day, we don't have to suffer through Baron Corbin being the World Universal Champion anymore. I'm happy. If you can't tell.
Well, I said it last week. I said, how smart would it be for Baron Corbin to get a woman? Right?
Right. You did.
Right.
So I may not have called the correct woman, but it was still a woman nonetheless. So that much I can definitely say that I did call. When people were thinking about Brock and Heyman, I'm like, no.
Actually, he got a lady.
I was just thinking that, but I
Right.
was like, you know what? I'm gonna let that
I
one
was going to
ride.
say that because I am the lady. I am the first lady of podcast. I am. I've been using the lady moniker well before Lacey Evans was. So I didn't want to, like steal her shine for a minute there.
Al. Mr. Scanner,
And
go ahead.
I can't really say nothing. I didn't get to watch this match yet. Um,
Ah,
so I knew what happened, but I didn't get to finish the pay per view, so I didn't get to see this one. Like you said, having Lacey come out was perfect. It created it continued the story with with her and Becky, and it built a bond to a connection from now, them having something to do with Seth and Becky and Corbin and them. So it built an even bigger story instead of two separate stories. Now it's one big story put together. So I'm enjoying this. It was great. It was a great way to build off of their story. So now it's I can't wait to see what they do with this now.
awesome, awesome. Well, like I said, man, the pay per view as a whole, I thought it was very good pay per view. I was pretty much satisfied and happy with all of the matches. The only knock that I had against the whole pay per view was just Roman beating Drew McIntyre again for the umpteenth time. I think Lady Great One said she gave it a C earlier. I think I'm gonna give this one a solid actual A minus.
Okay, I'll probably give it a B plus.
Okay, okay. Good pay per view. Good pay per view. Now we spoke a lot on Seth Rollins, and I did mention him early on the show that he had a podcast earlier this week with Sports Illustrated Media, and he did not disappoint. Now a lot of people, and this is just my personal take on this, a lot of people were pushing the agenda when the emancipation of John Moxley came about on Talk is Jericho, and everybody was real big on what John Moxley was saying about WWE creative. Um, Seth Rollins comes in and gives an interesting point of view, and nobody wants to talk about it. As a matter of fact, not only does nobody want to talk about it, most people are being dismissive and saying that, oh, he's the company guy, he's an ass kisser. Uh, of course he's going to say that because he's on top. Why do you think people are so less receptive to receive somebody saying something positive about WWE?
Because it's positive to say bad things about WWE. So if you say something bad, you're right. If you say something good, you're an ass kisser. You're wrong. I mean, come on. It's amazing. Each person that gets fired or released or not with the company, they have all this bad shit to say. But so it wasn't none of the stuff, none of the reasons that they left the company was their fault. It was always the company's fault. But everybody who works for the company is saying it's good. They do this. Yeah, we have problems, but I like this, and this. Oh, they're ass because they're wrong. They only like because they're at the top. They only like because of this. Well, it's just it's fun to go against the WWE. John Dean Ambrose is AEW now, so now he's right because whatever he said, it was the gospel. But if Seth said it, no, it's just because he's on top. Dean Ambrose was on top of WWE for a long ass time. I told somebody else was like Seth was an ass kisser. So I was like, so what the fuck was Dean Ambrose the entire time he was there? That means for the 4 or 5 years he was there, he was the ass kisser, right? I mean, he was on top. He did everything basically Seth was doing. He was on top for a long time. It's just your point of view when you left, like when CM Punk left, everything he said was correct. It was the gospel what he said. If anybody in WWF said it, that's completely wrong. They only saying it because they're corporate. They only saying it because they're a champion. They only saying it because they're an ass kisser. You know, it's good to hate the so-called establishment. Anybody that can go against them, they're right.
Lady Great One, go
it's a
ahead.
bandwagon thing. It's the bandwagon fans. These are the people who all of a sudden, all when Golden State started winning all these championships, everybody was saying, "Oh man, LeBron sucks. Oh, LeBron this, LeBron that, LeBron that. Oh, Steph Curry is the truth," and that's exactly what's happening. Every sport, every major sport has, of course, their bandwagon fans. And right now, all these people are jumping on the bandwagon of AEW.
The
That's
shit that pissed
exactly
me
what
off
it
is
is.
like, I'm like, how the fuck you turn like all these people? I'm listening to these fans, and I'm like, so y'all are turning y'all back on Seth now. Now he's not an independent star. Now he didn't do everything the fuck that Dean Ambrose did. He wasn't doing all these independent things that everybody else in AEW did. No, now he's corporate or whatever. Just because he's at the top right now, it couldn't be that he's, an incredible wrestler. Couldn't be that he's got charisma. It couldn't be that he's talented as fuck now. No, the only reason he's at the top now is because he's an ass kisser. It wasn't because of all of you fans loving him when he came from the independent scene. That didn't happen now. Now we
Oh,
hate him because he works for WWE.
all I
He's
have
at
to
the
say is
top.
this. What if it would have been Daniel Bryan? If Daniel
Yeah,
Bryan would have said these things, how would they feel about their indie darling?
but I swear that they do the same thing.
They'd have turned
I
on
mean,
them too.
Seth is just as loved. Seth is loved was loved by independent stars or independent people. He was a huge independent star. Everybody couldn't wait for him to come. Exactly the same. Actually, more people knew who Seth was than John Moxley. So when he came, everybody was, oh, we can't wait. This guy's going to be amazing. He's going to go to the top. He's going to be big. When he gets to the top, oh, he's only at the top because he's an ass kisser. What? It's not because he was good and all of y'all loved him before he ever came. No, it was because now he's in WWF, so he has to be an ass kisser to be at the top. He can't be the same talented guy that y'all was all in love with when he was working independent. Nope, it's completely different now. Now he's just an ass kisser.
Now I'm gonna come
Like
back.
you said, the bandwagon. Go on.
I was gonna say I'm gonna come back to it in a minute because I know you're real passionate right now. Because I get real into my feelings on this subject as well. Because everybody's so quick to knock WWE. But just the podcast itself, if you guys haven't listened to it, go check it out. Sports Illustrated Media Podcast. It was only about 60 minutes long or so. Seth was only on there for about 40 minutes. But I just want to read a little bit from the podcast. First and foremost, did you guys get to listen to the podcast or did you guys read the article?
I read most of the article. I didn't get to hear it.
I read most of the
I,
article. I didn't hear it.
Yeah, I took some time. I listen to headphones at work. I listen to music most of the time, so I took some time to listen to the podcast. And I think what a lot of people, because he did so much bashing on Twitter around the same time, I think people associated his rants on Twitter and pretty much assumed that that's exactly what he said on the podcast. And I think that a lot of people probably need to listen to it and hear the context uh, in which he was talking before they get to the point of judging and calling him an ass kisser and things like that. So I'm just going to read some of the highlights from it. So he was asked about it, saying that they were the best pro wrestling on the planet on Twitter. He spoke the definitive statements. And one of the things he said was, you can only sit back and read people bashing what you love to do for so long and sit there and take it and try not to take try to take the high road, so to speak. He said, I'm real proud of what I do every week, not just Monday, but every single Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Mondays, Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursday. I'm real proud of what I do and what our crew does and the effort we put forward. I'm not just talking about the wrestlers, the guys and the girls you see in the ring. I'm talking about the creative all the way up to Vince McMahon. We put in a ton of effort into making a product that I think is pretty darn good considering the amount of content that we put out there. The fact that people want to sit there on their soapboxes, on their stupid social media machines, and talk down about it really speaks volumes about the generation and where they're at. I figured if someone was going to fight back, it might as well be me since I'm the champion and consider myself the top guy in the company. So this is just part of what he said. And if this is not what we've already been saying on the Marking Out Amongst Friends podcast, I don't know what else can be said. And
yeah.
even us online, when we get to expressing this opinion, we get bashed too. We got to defend our opinion for defending WWE. But like you said, Seth Rollins goes out there and he says that, hey, I'm proud of what I do every day, not just on Monday nights, but every single day. Before he even became the Universal Champion, were we not calling Seth the resident Iron Man? Were we not saying that he was
Yep.
quote unquote the best in the company? That he could put on a great
Yep.
match with anybody? Did he not put on one of the
Yep.
best matches of 2000? and 18 last year in an Intercontinental match with the Miz.
The
This is
gauntlet match.
the
The
gauntlet match.
gauntlet
The
match.
Miz. Seth Rollins has been doing this way longer than before he had to strap this to show for it.
Yeah.
And when he
But
talks
but he's
about
the champion now, so now he's a sellout.
and when he talks about the best, they put on the best product in the world, depending talking about the amount of content they put out. And people still think that when he's talking, he's just talking about SmackDown and Raw. He said we have over 500 live events that we have to do every year. 500 live events. It's only 365 years left, in the year, or 365 days in the year, guys. So for over 500 live events in a year, that means they're doubling up on days, doubling up, tripling up on days. They got live shows
Yep.
going on while they have televised shows going on. They're touring.
Yep.
Not only that, they got 205 lives that they got to put out episodes for and build stories around. They got NXT that they got to put out stories
Yep.
and put around. And everybody wants to glorify the matches that they see on 205 Live and
And they
NXT,
got
but they don't want to create WWE as if they're different from WWE. It's a WWE product.
yeah. Yeah. Yep.
I had I had a back and forth with a good friend of mine when talking about this article, and he said some of those retorts. He said the best wrestling in the world. He's like, oh, you can't say you got the best wrestling in the world when you have stupid arm wrestling matches and tug of war matches going on. And all I did was put up the GIF
And
in
it would
NXT. I put up the GIF NXT. He's
and
like, that's not what he's talking about. I'm like, thinking about it, you obviously didn't read the article or listen to what he said.
my,
Because he mentioned
my thing
everybody.
my thing about that, I saw somebody say, best wrestler in the world. They showed the tug of war of the arm wrestling, and they was like, yeah, this is the best wrestler. I was like, wait. This is the best wrestler. Let me. I'm like, have you ever watched wrestling? Because I swear to fucking God, if you've ever watched wrestling, we've had pose downs in the 80s in every federation. We've had tug of wars. We've had arm wrestling contests. We've had all these other things that are not just wrestling matches. We've had talk shows. All of this stuff. We had Piper's Pit, one of the biggest things in wrestling, but that wasn't wrestling. So for anybody to say that, oh, they had a tug of war and say that this isn't wrestling, yes, it is. Throughout history, they've done all the same stuff they're doing now. They're not going to come out there. You're not going to have Braun Strowman and Bobby come out there and fight each other every night and then fight each other at pay-per-view. What the hell? You got to build something. So you have two guys that are supposed to be extremely strong. So you build on different ways. You have pose downs. You have strongman competition. You have different things. You can't. If everybody just had a wrestling match, everybody would be bored. It would be just the same stuff over and over again. It has to be something else. But nothing they're doing now is nothing that they haven't done and every federation in the world has done before. So for them to say that the tug of war, they shouldn't have had that or something like that, wait till AEW start and when they do something like that. Oh, I thought this isn't wrestling. I mean, you have AEW, you had the guy pour oil on him in the middle of the match. I thought he was wrestling. Why is he pouring oil on him to shimmy out of a move? That's not wrestling. He's just pouring oil on him to get out of something.
Why is he tying?
Don't sit there and be like, oh, this is stupid.
Why is he tying one arm around his match? Why is he tying his arms around his match and wrestling with his arms behind his match? Why doesn't he go out there and put on an actual match?
Yeah.
Because they're finding different ways to entertain people.
Why is he stapling a cigarette to his forehead? That ain't wrestling. That's the same stuff. Every federation is going to do something like that, but every time it's WWE, it's got to be, oh, it's stupid. Oh, this is not wrestling. Oh, AEW, wasn't that the company that came out there with the dicks coming out there to the ring? That's not wrestling, right? But that's supposed to be the biggest thing. But you got them coming out there with that. You watch Japanese wrestling. There's some stuff in Japanese wrestling that is weird as hell. They're trying to entertain you. Like they said, it is sports entertainment. If it was just a pure wrestling match, then it would be amateur wrestling. This is wrestling, pro wrestling. That means you have everything. You're going to have talk shows. You're going to have pose downs. You're going to have tug of wars. You're going to have, back in the day, bikini contests. You're gonna have arm wrestling contests. You're gonna have different stuff and all kinds of different things. I mean, who's gonna say that the beer bash wasn't wrestling? Anybody gonna say when Stone Cold came out there with the beer truck, or every time that Stone Cold drove any vehicle to the ring? Well, you got to remember that wasn't wrestling, but I bet you every single one of you loved it, and that was still one of your highest moments. Booker T and Stone Cold in the grocery store. That shit wasn't wrestling. They wasn't in a ring, but you loved it, didn't you? So don't complain about it. You can't complain that this isn't wrestling, but you watch Firefly Funhouse and everybody's all into it. I haven't seen Bray Wyatt wrestle in that Funhouse. I haven't seen none of that. He's talking and doing a character. So, but you loved it. So not everything has to be in the ring unless it's WWE, and every time it's certain things. Now it's not good because it's Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley. Now they should have just been in the ring wrestling a 30-minute match, and then next week they should have wrestled another 30-minute match, and then they should have wrestled at the pay-per-view another 30-minute match. You can't do that. You have to build something else. Yeah, you got to do something different. You can't just have a wrestling match each time. Everybody's going to get bored with it. You got to come up with different stuff. And it's nothing. It's nothing new. It's nothing that's happened just now. It's happened throughout the entire pro wrestling history. But to say that that's not wrestling, yes, it is. You loved it back in the day, but now you're all critics, and everything that WWF does is bullshit. So every other company that comes out with something, when they do it, you call that bullshit. No, but see, you don't understand. That's his character. You don't understand. That's what he did here. No, he's doing some stupid shit. So why don't y'all bullshit that the same way you say WWF is crap?
Whew. My goodness. Well, Lady Great One, I thought you were the resident rancher on the show, but God. Oh my goodness.
Oh, this shit is pissing me off. I've been sick and tired. Like I said, one guy said, I was like, yeah, this guy is, Seth was right. He was like, oh, he's just an ass kisser. I was like, how? How the fuck he an ass kisser? So wouldn't that mean, if in logic terms, if he's an ass kisser because he said something good about WWE, that means that Dean Ambrose is an ass kisser because he's saying something good about AEW. Isn't that the same way? If he said bad stuff about one company and saying good stuff about the other one, that means he's ass kissing to the company he works for. So John Moxley, Dean Ambrose is the ass kisser to AEW. Cody Rhodes, all of them. Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega, all of them are ass kissers to their company. But if WWF does it, somebody from WWF does it, now it's wrong. I digress.
Lady Gray, will you have anything else to expound?
He pretty much summed it all up, and that was your trash talk Thursday right there. I can't even do anything. I couldn't even get a word in edgewise. I don't even know what to say. I'm sitting over here in shock and awe. I'm gonna let him have this. This is now his topic. It's not mine anymore. You picking the range, took the crowd.
Well, you took the Reigns, the Ambrose, the Rollins. You took the whole Shield. God. Whoo, hoo-ah. Yeah, I can't follow that. I don't know what to say. So we'll just jump right into the next topic.
I'm just telling the truth.
Tell you, walking your
And
truth.
we know you are. That's why we can't say anything else.
Walking your truth, my brother. Oh man. Oh. So one of the things, since we're on the subject of WWE, one of the biggest pieces of news that came out today, Paul E. Dangerously, we all know is Paul Heyman, the resident advocate for the Beast, the Conqueror, the Money in the Bank holder, the Beast in the Bank, if you will. Paul Heyman and a returning Eric Bischoff have been named the new directors of WWE's
executive
directors. executive directors of SmackDown and Raw.
Mm-hmm.
This news was announced over almost every media platform. I got an ESPN notification at work about this. So,
Sports Illustrated first broke the news.
So
this is huge.
It's huge. What does this mean for WWE? So we don't really we know of commissioners and CEOs and people who run the show behind the scenes. We know of head writers. We know of people who do booking. We know of talent scouts. We don't really talk about executive directors. So what is it? What exactly do you guys think that this means? Mr. VIP, because your mic is probably still smoking right now, I'm gonna let you get a break here. Lady Great One, what do you think this means for the state of WWE now that we've named 2 new executive directors in WWE? Lady Great One?
A lot of changes. A hell of a lot. I think that a lot of talent is going to get more screen time that may not typically get it. I think that we're going to get a completely different format. I think we're going to finally get 2 separate shows again instead of relying on the wild card for both shows. I think it's going to be extremely positive because they want to separate the shows and want to make each show stand out a little bit different. One be a little bit more edgy, or one be a little bit more technical, something to that effect. I was reading on this, and all I got to say is they approached the right people at the right times. And so you better watch out.
Yeah, man, this is huge news. And
you may never see a hat trick in person.
If they let them do what they know how to do, it's going to be huge. I mean, you have the 3 biggest people who have made the biggest impact in wrestling. I mean, Eric Bischoff is the only person in history to ever beat Vince McMahon or the WWE, ever. And you have Paul Heyman, who changed wrestling forever. So their ideas are already revolutionary. They have amazing ideas. And the fact that, like Lady Greatwood said, the fact that they're coming in here now, especially like Eric Bischoff, I've been listening to the different podcasts, and I've been listening to like the Bruce Pritchard and the Eric Bischoff. And, a couple of times he'll say something about the current product. The thing is that he's been out of it. So he hasn't been, like they say, in the bubble. So he can look at what the current product is and put a new spin on some stuff and give an old, some of his insight that he had from before. The thing, and really and truly, if they make it to where like Paul Heyman is trying to make his show better than Eric's, and Eric is trying to make his show better than Heyman, and they're like, in the same company but competitively trying to make their shows better, it is an amazing feat. Heyman has had some insight into the shows before. He's been backstage doing, writing and creative or whatever. When SmackDown was doing really good and having all those great matches, and Eddie Guerrero became big and Chris Benoit, that stuff was Paul Heyman. So he's done this type of stuff before for WWE. Eric Bischoff has never been in any kind of role besides a character. When he came, he was never had any backstage influence. He just came, did his stuff as character, and then left. So to finally have him have his knowledge and have his seasoned knowledge now, this is huge. This is an amazing thing. And I don't know if you were going to talk about this, but one thing I keep hearing, like somebody had asked me today, do I think this is in response to AEW? And I was like, no. Vince doesn't care about them. This is a response to his own ratings being bad, his own attendance being down. He can see that his company right now is not doing the best it can do. He sees that they're not, and this is without any competition. So he already knows, okay, our attendance is going down, our ratings are going down, our buy rates are going down. So all of this stuff is going down. I have to do something. I got to do something to make my show better. Not worrying about anybody else. I need to make my show better. So that's why he started hiring new writers. He started switching around writers. He started hiring new people in the back. That's why Bruce Pritchard came back. That's why Jeff Jarrett is there. That's why Sanjay Dutt. That's why Abyss is there. All of these people are coming in because he's wanting fresh ideas. Shane Helms, all of these people. And now with Bischoff and Paul Heyman, they're coming in to try to revitalize the company. And he's getting people that know the fuck they're doing to help. You know, you go to, if you want to have the best show, the hell you go to the best two of the best in wrestling history. So this is amazing to see, you know, what stars are going to get pushed. Because one thing WWF doesn't have, their problem is not their talent. They have all the talent you could ever want. They have 50 to 40 more people down at NXT that it is not even on NXT and training and stuff. You still have a lot of people. So it's not their talent. It is the storylines. It is the creative direction. It is, you got to come up with something that makes people want to see it. You got to come up with stuff that makes people be like, oh my God, can you believe this happened? What is going to happen next? I can't wait to see it. I've got to see this match. There really hasn't been in a long time to where you just cannot wait to see this big, huge match, and everybody's waiting to see this monumental match we're finally going to see, that the storyline is built up to. So this is finally a chance to see two of the best help the company become huge in every way possible. So this is an amazing moment. And, you know, Vince is going to have to let them, you know, run with this. I mean, they already announced it on all these news things. Like I said, Sports Illustrated and stuff have made this announcement. So now everybody's is really going to be looking to see what the hell they do after you make such a huge announcement. We got to see a difference. So yeah, this is going to be huge. This is one of the most this is one of the biggest things that's ever happened in wrestling.
Okay, okay. So just to give a little more information on the details of the deal. So what I was reading earlier, and I don't know if you guys read this earlier as well, and something that you kind of hinted to. A lot of people are saying this is in response to AEW, but Paul Heyman, they are saying that they've been in the talks of making Paul Heyman an executive director for a while, and he finally was able to accept the position. They said that Eric Bischoff, they just kind of brought in over the last couple of weeks. And I think that you nailed a lot of points that I was going to bring up as far as what people have done or what WWE has done in the past year or so. You know, let's rewind back to about a year ago when they announced the Fox deal, and a lot of people were buzzing about it, and they were wondering when this start was going to happen. Then they go in and they bring in Bruce Pritchard. The McMahons come up and say on television that they haven't been given the best and they're going to give you something better that you haven't seen before. Okay? AEW comes along after that point and has their first, you know, big event. They take their first big star from WWE. Happens all the time. Big stars leave WWE. There's never been a bigger star leave WWE than Hulk Hogan. And then it's happened.
Yep.
So they get their first big star, and now everybody's saying that everything is in response to, you know, AEW. The deal has been in the works for months, well before the start. The detail are coming in. Heyman is actually set to become the executive director of Monday Night Raw, and Bischoff is going to run SmackDown. Both of them, of course, because it's Vince McMahon's company, they're going to report directly to Vince. Vince may be taking a step back to focus more on the XFL. full time. So you're going to see probably them doing a lot more of the heavy lifting that Vince was doing before. Besides, Vince is getting older; he can't do all the heavy lifting himself. Natural, a lot of people will want Triple H to do it, but Triple H has NXT to run as well, so he can't run the main roster and run NXT at the same time. He has to focus on his project. I think this gives more time for different creative minds to work on something different and give you a different product on each show. They're saying that this is going to
Yeah.
not start immediate. And of course, why would it start immediate when Paul Heyman is in the middle of a huge storyline right now, with Brock Lesnar being the Money in the Bank holder? It's not going to be starting immediately. They're expecting it starting maybe later in October, or probably not until the time that Fox debuts Smackdown Live on their network. So, with this being said, do you think that now AEW has to rush and get another major signing to compete with this?
No. That won't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter who you get to sign with your company. It matters on the product that you come up with. I mean, one person leaving, two people leaving, three people, that's not going to change anything. It has to be something that people want to see. Initially, yeah, everybody's going to be like, oh my God, Chris Jericho's there. Oh my God, Kenny Omega's there. Oh my God, Dean Ambrose is there. But in order for something major to happen, it has to be the creative direction. You know, like you had just mentioned, they lost Hulk Hogan to WCW. I don't give a fuck who John Moxley, Dean Ambrose, Kenny Omega, any of them all combined. Not one of them was bigger than Hogan. They lost Hogan. And then they lost the Macho Man. You lost Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man. But that still did not make WCW blow up. What made them blow up is the storyline that they was doing with the NWO. Hogan had been there for a little while. Macho Man had been there for a while. That didn't make them blow up. So just taking some stars, even if you take the biggest star in wrestling history, still won't mean that you're going to instantly blow up. They're going to have to. One thing that Eric Bischoff said, he gave some advice to AEW, and he said this is what he did when he did WCW. He said, do not try to be better than the WWE. Try to be different from the WWE. Don't try to compete with them and put on better shows and all this stuff. Try to be different. You have to be a different product because no matter what you do, WWF has the legacy, has the lineage. When people say pro wrestling, sometimes they just say WWE because that is what everybody who don't watch wrestling, that's what they know. WWE. I don't know anything about wrestling, but I know what the WWE is, or I know what WWF is. So you need to be AEW just needs to worry about themselves and make themselves different and worry about like TNA was doing when they first started. They focused on their X division. They focused on stars that people hadn't seen before. They focused on new matches that nobody had seen. That's what started making them big. And then they started to try to compete with the WWE and try to get all their former stars. And then once they started doing that, you try to compete with them. They started going downhill. AEW needs to worry about creating their own stars and not getting other stars. You need to find somebody who has never been on any WWF, any independent, somebody that's just new, and build that person up. Like TNA did with AJ Styles, with Samoa Joe. All of these people, nobody knew them. TNA built these stars to be huge. So you need to build stars. You can't just take a former WWE person and put them in AEW and like, bam, now we're huge. No, you're just copying them. Dean Ambrose, I don't care what you say, call him John Moxley, he's still just Dean Ambrose. Everybody's still gonna call him Dean Ambrose. He's still just the same guy that was in WWF. Chris Jericho, he's still just the WWF guy. You still see them as a WWF guy. We need a AEW guy. That's what they need to have. So, yeah, a single star, a couple stars, a stable. None of that is going to happen. It's going to change what's going to happen. What they got to do, focus on their self and work on creating the different, unique, and special show that they can do. Don't worry about saying that we're better, or don't worry about somebody who left WWE saying that I left them and they did this and they did that and they did this. Just worry about your company.
Okay, Lady Great One.
Well, um, I gotta stop having to follow him. I can't follow him. I ain't got
I'm
shit
sorry.
else to say.
I think he's just on.
I'm sorry.
He's on his soapbox tonight. He's getting out a couple of
Yeah, and he's taking the wind right out of my sails. So, hey,
he got a couple of months worth of soapboxes to get off of right now.
hey, I'm gonna let him do his thing, and I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy the wrath, the ranting. That's all I can do. I'm just a bystander tonight.
Well, either way it goes, I'm definitely excited to see both of them being named as executive directors. Um, this could do nothing but improve the product for WWE, in my opinion. A lot of people might not believe so, because people will look at it as WCW failed, people look at it as ECW failed. But one of the things that you also have to look at it as is both these guys made an excellent product out of their own shows in the peak era when WWE was king. And like you said, WWE. I mean, Bischoff was the first person to actually defeat Vince McMahon in ratings. So I mean, even though these guys ran their companies into the ground, they also gave some of the most successful competition that Vince McMahon has ever had as well.
And the thing about it, it wasn't that they ran the stuff in the ground. Like a lot of it was financial stuff. The stuff that happened with Paul Heyman, it was financial things that went on. His shows were he still had the best show. He still had great shows. It just finances messed up. Bischoff had a lot of stuff going on with the Time Warner and AOL stuff. That's what really messed him up. And a lot of other people that was above him. So, for them to say, if anybody says, well, they two failed people, well, so was Dusty Rhodes then. So was Ric Flair. So was all those people who came from other federations that their company ended. Jeff Jarrett, all of them, I guess, were failed people or whatever. You can't say that they failed. They had a great run. They may not have lasted forever. They may not still be going to this day. But I bet you remember them, and they're remembered more than any other federations. And that they're still the two biggest name wrestling federations to this day. Not one other federation can come close to being ECW or WCW. And however many federations have came and gone, no other one has still have the legacy and is remembered as much as those two. You gotta think WCW, ECW. That was like over 20 years ago. Since those federations were in business, and WCW ended in 2001 or 2000, whatever. It's 2019, but we still remember it. It was still huge, and can still compare anything that happens today to back then. NWO, their shirt still sells like crazy. And don't think that NWO or WCW stuff isn't big. What the hell is the Bullet Club? That was WCW. DX, all of that stuff. Most of the stuff that we see today is directly coming from what they saw in ECW or WCW. So that anybody saying they failed, their company is over, but their legacy is still here, vibrant in every wrestler we see. You watch NXT, and that's ECW. That's cruiserweights in WCW. You watch AEW, watch New Japan, all of that is still ECW, WCW. So every federation has copied from what they left behind.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, we're gonna jump right into our last topic here. I almost don't even want to talk about AEW right now because you wanna rant like you wouldn't believe against AEW at this point. Uh, but AEW's Fyter Fest, the player against Fyter Fest. I don't know if you guys watched that movie or that documentary about the failed festival supported by Ja Rule. This is a play or a parody against that Fyter Fest. It'll be taking place this Saturday night in Daytona Beach, Florida. Right now, we have about 9 matches on the card, 3 pre-show matches. We're going to give a couple of predictions here. Once again, a lot of these guys may not be guys that are household names, but we're still going to give some predictions just to think, just to give, our take or our spin on it. So right now, as far as the pre-show goes for Fyter Fest, uh, Michael Nakazawa versus Alex Jabali in a hardcore match. Interesting. Haven't seen a hardcore match in a while. Who do you guys got in this match? Are you guys familiar with either one of these names?
I have no clue who either one of them are. what was the first guy? What was the first guy you said?
Michael Nakazawa.
Yeah, he sounds like he's the winner. Yeah, Nakazawa sounds like he's gonna win.
Okay. I'm gonna pick Alex Jabali just because his last name is Jabali.
I'm just gonna go with the fun name to say, Michael Nakazawa.
There's some names in that match. I like that. All right, so 2 for Nakazawa, 1 for Jabali. Next match on the card, Cody is going against Darby Allin, or Darby Allin, excuse me, in a singles match. It's Cody's professional. I mean, it's Cody's company. Cody's not losing right now, especially after he just came off of a high-profile match against his brother on the last big show. So I'm not going against Cody on this one. Cody's winning.
I have to go against Cody because Cody can't win. It would be like Vince McMahon winning a match. So
Or
I have to go against Shane McMahon or Stephanie. I mean, you can't have the owner in matches. I mean, please, who would do such a thing? So whoever the other guy you said, he's going to win.
Darby
Hands
Allin?
down. Darby Allin is a killer. And don't push him.
I just like hearing your expressions about things. As much as I hate to say it, but yeah, Cody's gonna win because it's his company.
It's his company. He's not losing this match.
Come on now. That's a WWF thing. You can't. He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't win matches if he's owning the company. Come on. He's got to lose. I mean, logically, the only people that would ever win matches if they ran the company is the McMahons. Cody has to lose. I mean, he has to lose. I mean, he didn't lose.
He'll put over Kenny Omega.
He didn't lose when he won the title at the NXT. He didn't lose when he won the NWA title, but I mean, he did. Well, he didn't lose against his brother. But this match, he's going to lose. He's definitely going to lose this one. Yeah, he got to lose it. Can't have the owner winning matches. That would be WWF.
Well, speaking of partial owners, well, I'm sorry, Lady Great One. Who are you picking? You picked Cody too?
I just said Cody, yeah.
Cody. So we got 2 for Cody, 1 for Darby. I can't get over his name being Darby. The next match on the card, the Elite.
Well, the other guy's name was Jabroni, so.
The Elite are going in a 6-man tag against the Lucha Brothers and the Laredo Kid. The Elite being Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson. Other than the Elite, you also know them as being part of the Bullet Club as well. Also, other than being part of the Bullet Club, you know them as partial owners of the company, AEW as well. So who do you guys got in this match?
Definitely not the Young Bucks. I mean, definitely. When you said the Lucha Brothers, they're
Mm-hmm.
far more talented than them. They are raw as hell. Yeah, Lucha Brothers all the way. I mean, I couldn't stand if the owners, if they win, got to be the Lucha Brothers. They gotta win this time. Young Bucks can't win every match that they are the owners of. You know, Lucha Brothers all the way.
Okay.
Lucha, Lucha, Lucha.
Lady Great, who you got in this match? All right, so we have some technical difficulties with Lady Great One. We're gonna bring her back in a little bit here. So I'll just go ahead and give my prediction. I think that the Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid are actually all going to take this match. I think that the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks put on a great match at the last event. And I think that the Lucha Brothers probably are going to have more of a chip on their shoulder on this one. So I'm going to go for Lucha Brothers. Next match on the card, non-sanctioned match, Jon Moxley versus Joey Janela. We've been seeing this match advertised ever since Fyter Fest was announced. Jon Moxley being the resident superstar in the company right now. He is one of the hottest names in the company. I don't see him losing a match right now, especially off of that huge debut at the last show. So Joey Janela, hate it for you. You're not winning this match.
Yeah, I think Dean Ambrose. John Moxley he's gonna take this one. I mean, it wouldn't be fair if he, came in as a former WWF star and won everything. So yeah, I'm gonna go against. I'm gonna go for Joey Janela. Yeah, Smoker. He's got it. Can't have all the WWF people winning stuff. That would be, I don't know, some other federation.
All right, next match in the card, Fatal 4-Way, Jimmy Havoc versus Hangman Adam Page versus Jungle Boy versus MJF. Now, MJF is definitely a talent that I'm really becoming a fan of, especially, as talented he is at his age. However, Hangman Adam Page right now is going to also be riding a high as he's going to have a title match later on in the year against Chris Jericho for AEW's inaugural AEW Heavyweight Championship. With that being said, though, I wouldn't be surprised if MJF pulled this one off, so I'm going to pick MJF.
Who was the other person you said?
Hangman Adam Page, Jungle Boy, Jimmy Havoc, and
Yeah,
MJF.
okay, Jimmy Havoc. Yeah, I didn't hear Jimmy Havoc. Yeah, MJF. He's got this. I love his character. I love his persona. He's a big time heel, and I see big things going for him. I could see him being one of their biggest stars and one of their top heels in the company. So yeah, I'm going for him.
Okay. So both of us going for MJF in that one. Next match on the card, singles match, Christopher Daniels versus Sima. Christopher Daniels, resident part of SCU, SoCal Uncensored. They're gonna have a match later
That's
on in their
you.
show. SCU. Because Christopher Daniels is on his own, and I think that they want to bring a little more notoriety to Oshima. I think that he's going to be a big character or a big star in this company as well. I'm going for Cena in this one.
Okay, I'm not familiar with him. Um, I love Christopher Daniels. Uh, it's hard for me to go against Daniels. Like I said, I'm not familiar with the other guy. Um, but I know, I've always liked Christopher Daniels. So I'm going to say the Fallen Angel has this one.
Okay. All right. Speaking of SCU, SCU will be in a three-way tag team match tonight. The winner advanced to the All Out. Will advance to All Out for an opportunity at a first-round bye in the AEW World Tag Team Championship Tournament. All right. So SoCal Uncensored, Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian versus the Best Friends, Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor versus the Private Party, which is Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn. In this one, I can't really go against SCU, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Best Friends pull this one out. So I think I'm going to throw a monkey wrench into this one. I'm going for the Best Friends to win this one.
Really, truly, yeah, that's who I was going to say. I'm not familiar with the other guy, but I know Trent Barrera. I always liked him. He's really talented. And I see that could be a really good tag team for that federation. So I'm going to say Best Friends for life.
For life. Interesting fact, Trent Beretta actually called Dolph Ziggler a piece of shit earlier this week because Dolph Ziggler wore the same boots that he wore.
Oh, yeah. A former WWF star talking about another WWF star.
When does that happen? Huh. All right.
Yeah.
So we got two more women's matches on the card here. We got a singles match, Kylie Ray versus Leva Bates. I'm not really familiar with Leva, but I was kind of looking into some
Isn't Leva
Blue Pants? She is Blue Pants.
Isn't Leva Bates? Okay, that's what I was about to say. Yeah, Blue Pants all the way.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with Blue Pants in this one as well. Yeah, Leva Bates is gonna take this one, and then the next match and the final match that I see on the card here, Yuka Sakazaki versus Riho versus Nyla Rose. Triple threat, three-way match, women's match. Who you got?
Who's the other two?
Nyla Rose is the transgender Native American wrestler that we saw debut
in
the first show.
Yeah.
Yuka Sakazawa is a former Tokyo Joshi pro wrestler.
Okay.
Part of a tag team called Tokyo Princes. And then Riho, Japanese professional wrestler. So we got two Japanese wrestlers, and then we got Nyla Rose.
I think Nyla Rose is going to win because I think they're going to try to build her to try to make her a big threat so that they can have her and Awesome Kong. So I think Nyla Rose is going to win this one.
Okay. I'm probably going to go ahead and pick Nyla Rose for this one as well. And just for the same reasons you said, I think they want to build Nyla Rose. A lot of names that you saw from the first event, but I also see a lot of names that they're trying to debut on this event that you didn't see at Double or Nothing. I expect there to be some surprises to come out on this show as well. Of course, last month when Double or Nothing dropped, we saw the debut of Dean Ambrose or John Moxley. We also saw Awesome Kong come out. We also saw Bret Hart debut the AEW Championship. So I don't expect them to slow down the gas at any point. I think you see some more announcements come. I think you see some more surprises come. I'm honestly thinking that you're going to see another WWE guy pop up here. And I don't know who it is just yet, but I think you're going to see a WWE guy pop up at this event.
Okay. I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't doubt that they were doing that. There's a couple people I could maybe say, I'm not for certain what all they have going, but yeah, for right now, they're going to try to build surprises and have big time things happen, especially till they get to the weekly show, and the weekly show is going to have some big surprises. So right now, I think every show needs to have something that makes the internet talk. Somebody show up, something that look how much Dean Ambrose coming, had everybody talking. So I think it's going to be some, much like that. It's got to be somebody that's going to come, that's going to have the internet going crazy, talking about, oh my God, this person is now here. Um, so yeah, it's going to be, they're going to get somebody to come.
Okay.
They got to keep that, surprise and that momentum going.
All right, all right. Yeah, definitely. For those you guys who are going to be wanting to watch this, I know I'm going to be making sure that I get tuned in. This event will air for free. Um, Last month, there were a lot of people who were complaining that the pay per view was $60. So this one is going to be on free. This is going to be free on BR Live streaming service. So if you guys are not familiar with BR Live is the Bleacher Report's live streaming service. So check them out. I know I will be, and uh, that'll pretty much knock out all the topics that we have. Um, I was trying to hold off to see if we could get Lady Great One again before the show is over. Is she still on the line with us? I don't think she is. I think she dropped off. I think she had to take a very important call. She's a mother, so we're transparent. We got our lives outside of the podcast as well. So we'll jump right into our final thought. Um, Mr. VIP, you've been on the roll tonight with the rants, man. You got any final thought to leave us with?
I don't have a rant. I just have I guess a special thing. Um, this week was the 10th anniversary. If anybody knows me, I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan, and
Facts.
this was the 10-year anniversary of his passing. And I, I it was a huge blow for me. I'm not gonna be scared. I cried a lot. I mean, when I heard it, I broke down. I mean, no, I never met him, but ever since I remember, I've always loved Michael Jackson. I listened to his music when I was a little kid. I was sitting there trying to dance and sing like him. And actually, before I even got into wrestling, the first thing I ever remember liking was Michael Jackson. So, it hurt. And, I, I mean, my son's middle name is Michael, named after him. So it was a huge blow to lose him. And I just wanted to say rest in peace to the greatest that ever did it. Um, we miss you. You live on in the music, the videos, uh, and everything, other stars that have, came along that represented you, like Chris Brown and Bruno Mars and stuff. So I just want to say rest in peace to Michael Jackson. That's my
Awesome.
final thought.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. All right. Well, my final thought is going to be a little bit different. Um, it is going to be on a wrestling note here. I'm trying to pull up the article um, or the interview that I had. I can't find it now. But there was an interview. CM Punk was actually on a talk show earlier this week and was asked if he had the itch to return to pro wrestling. And he didn't confirm or deny that he may be returning to pro wrestling very soon. So the question out there that has been floating around is it going to be for AEW or is it going to be for WWE? Crazier things have happened. A lot of people think that he left on WWE on too bad of terms to come back, but there are people who've left on worse terms and have made amends. Um, I think that Paul Heyman becoming the executive director for Monday Night Raw could be a huge draw for him to come back as well. Um, Not to mention Shane McMahon doing the whole best in the world gimmick. Or because All In is going to be in Chicago later this year, and we saw him come into All In last year for the special event for an autograph signing. So we know he has a close personal relationship with the guys over in AEW. Who is he going to go to? Nobody knows, but whoever he signs to, it is going to be a huge draw for whichever company gets him. And that's my final thought. That'll be a wrap for tonight's show. I love doing this podcast with you guys. I love making these podcasts for the fans out there, for the guys who listen, for those who don't listen. If you're a wrestling enthusiast like ourselves, follow us on YouTube, youtube.com/marking out amongst friends. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/marking out amongst friends. Follow us on player.fm. Follow us on iTunes, Marking Out Amongst Friends searches. Follow us on the Google Play Store. Download the Google Play Podcast app and plug us in, Marking Out Amongst Friends, the podcast. But before we let you guys go home for tonight, you know what time it is. Mr. VIP, how about you end the show? What time is it? What's the time for us to do?
Let me see. It's about that time to hit the music.
He looks like a fan.
Marking out.
He was marking out, man.
450 off the top with the top. Leader of the new school, ain't no way to stop us. Mark it out, screaming loud, tell me who you with. Competition is none, cause we lunatics. Walk with me down these roads if you're all in. I love the feeling, baby, time to go to work again. Come together like a fist and we do it proud. Light it up and burn it down, cause we marking out.